Civil War is in theaters this weekend. Should you go see it? Let's talk about it. Welcome back, Kernels, to another movie review. I just got back from seeing Civil War, a movie that honestly is not at all what I thought it would be like, but trust me, that is a good thing. We're going to get all to that in a second, but real quick, before we dive into this review, if you are new to the channel, consider subscribing so you don't miss a single review like this one, and if you like the video, consider liking it at the end, possibly. Honestly, it's completely up to you, and let's dive into the review. So the movie follows this group of journalists who are trying to make their way to Washington, D.C. so that they can interview the president. Along the way, they kind of meet different people with different mindsets, just dangerous people, people who've kind of lost their minds during the Civil War, and the entire thing is just captured through kind of like a bystander's lens. They make their way to D.C., where they briefly get to interview the president before he is killed, and that's just essentially the whole kind of, I guess, run of the movie. So you heard me say before that this movie was not at all what I thought it would be like, and it's absolutely true. It kind of is, you know, when you hear the name Civil War, you think to yourself, is this going to be like all fighting? Is it going to be hand-to-hand combat? That's not what this movie is. There is part of that at the end where you get to follow, but it's really not that. You know, a lot of these movies you'll notice, like, will try to put you on one side or the other, and that's really not what's happening here. It's more of just like these guys are bystanders. They want to do their job. They want to, you know, just keep the ones that are close to them safe and do what they're trying to do. That's it. And to see that through like the eyes of like the Civil War, where it's, you know, two clear sides, is very interesting. Another thing I really liked about this movie was that none of these guys have weapons. At least not like guns or traditional weapons. It makes it really scary because they come into contact with people that have, you know, military experience, snipers. The biggest thing they have to a sniper is their camera lens, where they can zoom in on people. And even then, you know, it's pretty dangerous. So you can imagine when they get into these situations, it's like, man, don't, you know, put yourself in harm's way. And that's kind of like what they spend the whole movie doing, like making sure that they get these cool war shots because, you know, they're really dedicated to their job. I'll give them that. But they obviously don't want to get hurt. So there is a part in this movie that's, I believe actually in the trailer, where Jesse Plemons, he plays like this military guy, and he has like these like pink red sunglasses on, and he's like, oh, like what kind of American are you? He's like killing innocent, or I don't know if they're innocent, but just citizens who, you know, aren't American enough, is kind of what he gets at. And I know the one guy says he's like from Hong Kong, and he kills him on the spot. He kills him on the spot. And it's just like there's this whole sequence where they're like, I'm from Missouri, or I'm from Florida, and he gives them like it's not like a quiz, but it kind of is at the same, you know, same time, because they don't want to join the, you know, other like dozens and dozens of people that are in this pit that he's about to light on fire that they've killed. And it's a very tense scene because they don't have weapons, they have nothing to defend themselves, they're not, you know, some kind of ninja that knows acrobatic, they're just people. They're just regular, normal people. And it's really, like, scary, especially because you've, you know, gotten to know these characters up till this point. There's a lot of photography moments in this movie where, like, certain moments they'll, like, capture it and then they'll show that picture on screen. I think that really helped with the mood of this movie and just capture, like, wow, this isn't all fighting and this really is them just trying to do their job. But it's like, wow, look at this. Like, look at these photos of what's going on, and it kind of just makes you like sit back for a moment and kind of take it all in. One of my favorite characters in this movie, Joel, is he starts off as this like kind of like drunk, like he kind of just is like a fun, I don't care kind of attitude. Throughout the movie, he loses his friend, this old man, and then at the very end he loses, I don't think it's his girlfriend, but just like his other friend, played by Kirsten Dunst, and she just, first of all, she's phenomenal, but when that happens, he just becomes this like angry soul. So much so that when they kill the president, he's like, oh, you know, I gotta get this interview in, because that was like the whole purpose of this trip. So he, you know, wants to get this, and he goes, you know, any last words, like, can I get a quote? And the president says, don't let them kill me. He goes, that'll do. He has no heart, no remorse, and that's who he becomes by the end of the movie. It's a really like sad thing to see what the Civil War can turn people into. There's a huge change in tone when they hit Washington, D.C., because the whole movie, there's like, you know, for a movie called Civil War, you'd expect there to be a lot of shooting and all this stuff, and there's really not. It's kind of surprising when you hear that. Right when you hit Washington, D.C., that all changes, and it's just very like what's going on, kind of like adrenaline rush kind of thing. The last thing I want to address is that, you know, while the main plot of this movie, yes, the Civil War is going on, and that is what's happening to the rest of America, it feels like the story that's being told is more about these guys. I want to, you know, kind of compare it in a funny way to The Last of Us, because, you know, if The Last of Us, it's, you know, there's a zombie apocalypse and you think about it just be about surviving, right? It's more about the story between Joel and Ellie. It's the same kind of thing here. It's about these people, this group of journalists trying to get somewhere. And I think that's what's so interesting about it, is that it's not about choosing sides. It's not about winning the war. It's just about making sure these people are safe and get to interview the president like they want to. And I think that's really interesting. So yeah, guys, that is my review for Civil War. Drop a comment down below letting me know, you know, did you see this film, or just what are your thoughts on the movie? Again, I think I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I'll probably leave my review or just account down below somewhere in the description if you want to check that out. And make sure you stay up to date with all reviews coming your way soon. Until next time, guys, peace.